Hey, what's good, YouTube? Are you tired of playing fair? Or do you want a deck that guarantees victory while completely crushing your opponent's hopes of special summoning? Well, say hello to Primite Blue Eyes. I've been teasing this deck for a while now, but yeah, this deck locks non-dragon decks out of special summoning. Very similar to other videos on my channel. It's a very toxic strategy, and trust me, it will not make you friends, but it will win you games. So if you've always wanted to be the villain in Yu-Gi-Oh, then this is pretty much the deck for you. With that said, let's dive into how to do the Dragon Lock as I teach you how to harness this toxic power. Before we get into the combo, I do want to also emphasize this is also a budget package. Literally costs less than $5. We can kind of go briefly over what the cards are. So we have 4 monsters for the extra deck, and then 1 additional brick for the main deck. And Fallen of Albaz is actually a decent going second card as well, just because he is a pseudo super poly, just because he gets his normal summon himself, discard a card, and you can, if you're going second, special summoning using your opponent's monsters as well. So again, this is 25 cents, 25 cents, 25 cents, 25 cents, and this is like around $3 to $4 at the moment. So the whole package is around $5 to $6 with tax. With that in mind, I am going to be going over the Primite combo and the budget version of the combo. So let's just get straight into the combos, and then I'll show you how to do the Dragon Lock. So for the combo, we're just going to say we drew 3 hand traps and then 2 of our starters. This is the Primite version of the deck profile, by the way. I will show you 2 combos, one with the Primite engine and one without, just so you guys can kind of see what exactly adding $200 to $300 of worth of cards gets you and the difference. Honestly, it's not too much, but yeah, we'll go into both versions, the budget version and the Primite version. So to begin the combo, we would go ahead and activate Primite Dragon Ether Beryl. Ether Beryl is going to go ahead and grab us our Lordy Lode from the deck. Place it face up in our spell and trap zone. Primite Lordy Lode is going to go ahead and activate and grab us our Primite Drillbeam, which is our deck's Omni Negate. So Drillbeam is going to go ahead and go to our hand. From here, we can go ahead and go into our Spirit by linking off our Ether Beryl, and then activate Spirit's effect to go ahead and grab us our Mausoleum of White. So now we got Mausoleum of White, we can go ahead and activate it. That gives us a second normal summon. So now we can go ahead and normal summon Sage with Eyes of Blue, activate his effect, and that is going to go ahead and grab us our Maiden of White. So we get Maiden of White to our hand. From here, we can go ahead and send Maiden of White to our graveyard, and that is going to go ahead and grab us our True Light and put that again face up in our spell and trap zone. Activate True Light's effect and go ahead and put down our Wishes for Eyes of Blue. So now we can go ahead and activate our Mausoleum of White, targeting our Spirit with Eyes of Blue and sending our Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the graveyard. And from here, we can go ahead and bounce our Spirit, special summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon, which then gets us our Maiden of White from the graveyard. Now we can go ahead and activate our Wishes for Eyes of Blue. We just go ahead and discard any of our hand traps in our hand for this video. We'll just go ahead and toss our Nib into the graveyard. Wishes for Eyes of Blue is going to go ahead and grab us an Effect Veiler, just an additional hand trap since we already got our Maiden. And we already used both summons, so you could also get another Sage if you want to have stuff for the next turn. But I'm just going to go ahead and grab us an Effect Veiler and then our Majesty of the White Dragons. Then we can go ahead and banish our Wishes for Eyes of Blue from the graveyard. And that's going to go ahead and get us our Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon attached to our Blue Eyes White Dragon. So now we can go ahead and synchro those off into our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Might as well get our Heretic Seal on the top right there. Then we can go ahead and activate our Primite Lordy Lode and special summon our second Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. From here, we can go ahead and use our second Spirit so we can get 2 dragons on board. So we have 2 dragons, and now we can go ahead and link 2 off, and now we have our Heretic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres, which is pretty much the main extra deck monster we are going to be going into with the specific branded version. So we have a bounce, we have a Graveyard Negate that turns into an Omni Negate, and we have 5 cards in hand. We have a Majesty of the White Dragons, which is a double pop because our graveyard now has 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons in the graveyard, so it's a double pop. We also have the, if they do try and target one of our Blue Eyes monsters, we have the Negate and pop with the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon as well. And then we also have our Maiden of White, which is a spellcaster, which is important in the graveyard as well. And we have for sure an Omni Negate / Banish with Primite Drillbeam and an Effect Veiler in our hand, plus 2 additional cards, which could be hand traps. We play 15 of them in the deck. So again, 2 empty cards, and we have Primite Drillbeam and an Effect Veiler for sure in our hand. Double pop, a bounce, Graveyard Negate turns into an Omni Negate. So now we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Let's just say we're going against, I don't know if you guys as locals is competitive or not, But if we were going against the most popular, strongest deck, it's going to be Ryzeal. And if you don't notice, Ryzeal plays a lot of light monsters. So more than likely, they're going to either special summon X Ryzeal, which is a light, normal summon Sword Ryzeal, or normal summon Ice Ryzeal. If they do have their best normal summon in the deck, let's just say it's Ice Ryzeal, they're going to go ahead and normal summon Ice Ryzeal to special summon from the deck, which is most likely going to be a Sword Ryzeal. So they have a light and a fire. At that point, we can go ahead and we would have Primite Drillbeam, which is our negate / banish, face down over here. We have this Majesty face down over here as well. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and if they did have their Ice Ryzeal, which then gets Sword Ryzeal, we can go ahead and bounce the Sword Ryzeal back to their hand. Now they just have a light Ice Ryzeal on their board. So Hermetic Seal gets bounced, and we get to special summon a Fallen of Albaz from our deck. Now he can activate his effect. We discard one card from our hand. It could be one of our other 2 empty cards. Discard one card from our hand, and we can now fusion. So we go ahead and use Fallen of Albaz plus their Ice Ryzeal or any light monster they have. And from there, that is going to go ahead and get us our Albion, the Branded Dragon, which requires a Fallen of Albaz plus 1 light monster. So that gets there. Then we can go ahead and activate Albion's effect, which gets us another fusion summon by banishing 2 monsters from our graveyard. So we're going to go ahead and banish our Fallen of Albaz plus a light spellcaster monster. So we go ahead and do Sage with Fallen of Albaz, and that's going to get us our Albion, the Sanctifier Dragon. So he is the main monster that we are utilizing for the combo. So Albion cannot be targeted with card effects, so which is really good. They cannot negate this effect. Then during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target 2 monsters in any graveyard, special summon both monsters, 1 to each side of the field. So that's where the fun and toxicity begins, because now we can go ahead and give our opponent Spirit with Eyes of Blue, and once they have Spirit, they cannot special summon any monsters aside from dragon monsters. So even though we gave them back Sword Ryzeal, they cannot special summon it from the hand anymore, nor can they special summon their X Ryzeal because they are not dragon monsters. So we go ahead, give our opponent Spirit with Eyes of Blue, go ahead and we can just go ahead and give us back Ether Beryl. So now they are locked out of monsters, and we have 2 big body dragons on board on top of our Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. So that's another problem with Blue Eyes. It's really hard to OTK, but with the branded package, since we have these additional dragon monsters and they're really easy to get on board, the next turn it's more than likely we were going to be able to kill them. Then we can go ahead and activate our True Lights effect to special summon our Blue Eyes White Dragon, and that makes Primite Drillbeam live because now we have a normal monster on board. So we have a double pop still, we have the effect veiler still in hand, and we have the banish / negate for any card that they're going to activate. Plus we haven't even used Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon to negate their graveyard and to bounce and go into our Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. So again, they have this on board. They're pretty much locked out from doing anything. They already used their normal summon with Ice Ryzeal, so they cannot special summon any more monsters aside from dragon monsters, and they're not going to be able to get a second body on board. So they are pretty much SOL, and your board is pretty much stacked for. They're going to pass turn. They have a 300 attack Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Usually you want to keep it on their board, but since we have so many big monsters already on board, we go ahead and switch everything to attack mode. 3,000, 3,000, 2,500, 2,500, 1,600. If you ever needed to have any additional attack power, and we didn't use the other Blue Eyes White Dragon already, say they stopped you somehow, you can go ahead and use Mausoleum, target one of your monsters, and send a Blue Eyes from the deck to the graveyard so they can gain an additional 800 attack. Just something to know in case you ever need that extra attack power just to go for game. But yeah, as you can see, very strong end board. We still have 2 cards in hand. We're going to go ahead and draw a 3rd card when it gets passed to our turn, and they are pretty much done for the day. Even if they were able to somehow survive, we have True Light to go ahead and rebuild our board. We have Lordy Lode to rebuild our board, and just so much recursion in the deck. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you what would happen if we didn't have Ether Beryl. It would pretty much just be the same thing minus the negate and banish. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the budget version of the combo, still just as strong and does the same thing pretty much. This can be used with any of our 1-card starters. If you're playing the budget version, you have Neil Kaiser Seahorse, 3 of those, Bingo Machine Go, 3 of those, Sage, 3 of those, and 3 Maidens, of course. So again, in my budget version, I have 15 1-card starters. So let's just say we did get Wishes for Eyes of Blue. Go ahead and activate Wishes, discard one of our 4 cards in hand. Wishes goes ahead and gets us our Sage with Eyes of Blue and our Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. From here, we can go ahead and normal summon Sage with Eyes of Blue, activate his effect, get us our Maiden of White to our hand. Now we can go ahead and send Maiden of White and get us our True Light, activate True Light early and get us our Majesty of White Dragons. So we have our pop already. Now we can go ahead and activate Roar the Blue Eyed Dragons. Roar is going to go ahead and special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon in defense mode from the deck, which then gets us our Maiden of White back to the field. Now we can go ahead and banish our Wishes for Eyes of Blue from the graveyard, attach our Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon to Blue Eyes White Dragon, and from here we can go ahead and link off Sage with Eyes of Blue, which is then going to get us our Mausoleum of White, activate Mausoleum of White. Then we can go ahead and fusion these two off just to get Blue Eyes into the graveyard for our Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon, activate Spirit with Eyes of Blue, bounce himself, get a Blue Eyes White Dragon to the field. Now we can go ahead and activate Mausoleum of White, targeting Maiden of White. Go ahead and chain Maiden of White to special summon Sage from the graveyard. And then Mausoleum of White is going to go ahead and send us our second Blue Eyes White Dragon to the graveyard. Now, similar to the last end board, we can go ahead and get our Blue Eyes White Dragon, Spirit with Eyes of Blue, link 1, 2 dragons on board to go into our Heraldic Seal. So again, very similar to the last board. Now we have 3 cards in hand, Spirit, True Light. So pretty much the same exact thing, except this time we don't get the Effect Veiler in hand because we didn't have a second starter. However, if we did have even any of our other starters, pretty much like if we had another Sage, pretty much any other card, we can go ahead and have a very similar end board. But even with just one card, we were able to establish a double pop, bounce, Graveyard Negate, which turns into an Omni Negate. So we're going to go ahead and pass turn. Let's say we're going against the same Ryzeal deck. They normally summon Ice Ryzeal, get their Sword Ryzeal. From here, we can go ahead and bounce the Sword Ryzeal back to their hand, special summon our Fallen of Albaz, activate his effect, discard a card from our hand, go into our Albion by using Fallen of Albaz plus one of their light monsters, then activate Albion's effect to go ahead and banish our Fallen of Albaz plus our Sage with Eyes of Blue. So they get banished, gets us our Albion to the field. From here, Albion can go ahead and give them Spirit with Eyes of Blue. They are locked into dragons, and then we can pretty much get anything we want. We can go ahead and just get Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon to our field, and then again, they are locked into dragons. We have True Light on board to still special summon another Blue Eyes, 2 cards still in hand. A lot of follow-up with just having True Light. Then again, we have a 3,400 attack, 2,500, 2,500, 3,000. Go ahead and draw when they pass turn, 3 cards in hand. True Light again. On the last turn, we probably would have either set a card. More than likely, we would have just special summoned Blue Eyes White Dragons. We'd have him on board. Then we have a full board of dragons to go ahead and attack for game. All they would most likely have is a Spirit with Eyes of Blue. They couldn't special summon anything. And we go for game, and that's pretty much it. And again, this is all with 1 card, and we still have 3 cards in hand. Again, really powerful deck, and that is a $5 addition to your regular budget version of Blue Eyes. I feel like this is the strongest version in regards to the budget versions of Blue Eyes. If you're going to be playing without having the Primite package, I highly recommend putting the branded package just because it is so strong. Yes, it does add you another brick in regards to Fallen of Albaz. However, he is also not too bad because he has a dragon monster, 1,800 attack, and again, he has the fusion potential, so he's pretty decent if you did draw him going second as well. He is pretty much like a pseudo super polymerization, and if you are playing Blue Eyes, you probably wouldn't have too much of an issue having more than 40 cards, and especially with 15 1-card starters, if you are playing 3 Neo Kaiser Seahorse and 3 Bingo Machine Goes, it pretty much guarantees you to always have a starter and multiple hand traps. We were playing 15 hand traps in the specific build as well. But yeah, I think that's all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you guys in the next video.